Something that you and I have banged heads over the years is something I thought we'd use for the one idea today. And this is it. The idea that you believe is do something, do anything, just do it and worry about whatever happens later. My thought is you got to do some planning. You got to prepare before you pull the trigger. So yours is fire, ready, aim, and mine is ready, aim, fire. I think we have over the years banged heads on that a few times.
Just a few. Just a few. I think, Ski, just to start this thing off today, I still hold by my belief. If I don't, you see, I get lost in the woods. I have to move, I have to get something going. I have to do something. Because if I don't, I could write forever about an idea, I could think forever about an idea, but then by the time that I think it through and all of the consequences and all of the possible yeses and nos, it never gets done the way that I conceive it. My mind just moves that way, Ski. I'm sorry that, I'm so entrenched in it. It's been the way that I've pretty much lived my life. And I know that it's gotten me in trouble. I know that it's not perfect, but I believe that if you do something and you put it out there, nothing is so bad that it can't be fixed and that you can take the time to fix it.
Your idea of taking action is something that I have taken on in the past few years. But I also believe that there is if something's worth doing, it's worth doing well. And putting a little bit of time of planning up front goes a long way to getting better results. Because if you have to redo things and go back over it, what have you gained other than a little bit of knowledge? So I think as we look at this, it is also a personality thing. You brought up a good point. So that's you. Me, and again, my personality, I'm a bit more analytical. I want to make sure that things are together, that I'm not going to have to do this over again, because if I don't have time to do it right the first time, when am I going to find time to fix it and do it right later? So I do believe there's something in the middle there, and that's where people have to decide based on their own personality. Now, I will say this. When you take people who are of one particular leaning, so somebody who's a fire, ready, aim person needs to align with somebody who's going to help them take aim. And the person who is a person who's aim, ready, has to align with somebody that squeezes the trigger. And I think that's where people miss the boat. It isn't really a one or the other, because we do change. I've changed, you've changed. You've even come a bit my way, I've come a bit your way. It isn't so pure and straight and simple. If people really think about it, that's what I just got done saying is align with other people. You can't do these things yourself unless you're, again, going to beat yourself up on these issues as we have in the past. So
I see your point, and I agree with you that I have changed. I no longer just shoot. At least I take the gun out of the holster now. But
right.
You've made me be that way because I just sometimes I go off half-cocked and I've got to stop that. So I think your point about finding someone who, I don't want to say is your polar opposite, but someone with whom you can have a good relationship with and not argue over simple things is a great way of putting it. And I encourage people to look for that when they're looking for a project to do.
Right, and if you remember when we started this way back, it was exactly that. It was, okay, let's do a little bit of planning, and you were saying, all right, well, let's get moving here. When are we going to start this? What's the start date? So there's that balance that we were just talking about. We're getting together, and if you're a loan officer or you're a manager, executive in a company, you have to be looking at it yourself the same way because you operate in a certain mode. There are different personalities, and they take different approaches to these things. It's really important that you recognize what your particular strength is and where you need to align with other people.
To be perfectly serious, it would be impossible for a loan officer, a new loan officer especially, to decide that they want to do business in a certain way, with realtors as an example, and not have any idea what they're going to say. Or because my philosophy, of course, requires that you have a plan. Without a plan, I think, because this is what it all comes down to. If you don't have a plan, you're sunk. You're just sunk. You can have all the goals you want, but if you don't have a good, workable plan, you're dead.
And if you don't pull the trigger, if you don't execute the plan, it's the same thing. So I think we hit it today. I think this was a great subject to talk about. I want to thank everybody for viewing today. Please tune in for our next episode. We look forward to presenting another idea a day to help you get better. Take care. See you, Ralph.
Take care, Ski. You too.